Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Brightworks, another match of Beyond All Reason. A match that I've been super excited to show you guys. I've had this match in my file for a little while, and I've been holding on to it for a good opportunity. I think this is about as good an opportunity as any. So today, spawning on the northern side of the map that goes by the name of Seven Rivers, which I'll talk about in just a second. Storteberger, or something like that here, representing the blue team, the German team, really. So many German players over here on this one. I wonder if there was some sort of shenanigans going on. Maybe we were all in a voice chat or something together. Either way, going to be leading the blue team here with 31 true score. Actually tied for the blue team leader right here with Czar XT4, the green commander, both of which have spawned in this northern section. I guess a sort of joint command ship over here on the blue side of the map over here. Spawning on the other side of the map, representing the the red team. Learn your colors. Primary colors. Been a while since I studied up on those. Goes by the name of Ural. 40 true skill. Silver chevrons, and hailing from the land of Canada. Actually, really, yeah, we have the German team versus the American team, maybe just the North American continent team, plus Sparky Seal. But aside from Sparky Seal, yeah, we have all American and Canadian players here. Really interesting. Should be some good fun. So, Seven Rivers. My big gripe with this map, obviously, is where are the Seven Rivers? I mean, this is all one river, right? I mean, they're all connected to each other, so surely that means this is one river. And even if you don't count the connections, you have one river here, one river here, one river here, one river here, and one river here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, maybe you're supposed to count the segments, right? So maybe if I clear this and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure where Seven Rivers come from, but maybe somebody down below knows the lore, the history, and they can actually let me know about it. Either way, we're getting ready for some aggression. We do have a couple of rascals headed out on the map right here. Should be good stuff. Drunkledor. Drunkledor going to be getting some of those rascals out, sending one of them across the map to try and do a little bit of scouting. And then we do have on the southern side as well, Gleidschatten, the German player. I guess it's not very specific. The Seafoam Green player on the southern side, going to be holding on here as well. Now, this map is pretty interesting because it does definitely encourage a lot of Navy play. Indeed, we do see the blue team leader as well as the red team leader both going into those navies here, both going to be going into Cortex navies. Those frigates are going to be extremely powerful, especially because of the fact that you can assault any of those land-based units from essentially anywhere. I mean, there's not really very many reprieves from that much, or from those naval bombardments that either team is going to be able to have. Resbot was sniped over here, by the way, with a grunt. Very nice. It's always a bummer to lose that early Resbot. Probably just a little miscued right here by Astalgi. I do believe that was Astalgi's anyway. Maybe not, though. Might have been Sparky Seals. Hard to tell. Pardon me. Still getting over the sickness. I know I've been harping over the last couple of videos. Didn't have time before I felt it coming on to record a bunch before. So you're just going to unfortunately have to bear with me. I'm trying to mute myself every time I need to clear my throat. I know that's not exactly the audio presence that everybody signs up for here when they get ready to listen to a cast to Beyond All Reason. Nice snipe right there. Those grunts, absolute heroes. Going to be returning home with silver chevrons on all their belts for sniping that little constructor vehicle right there. It doesn't seem like a lot, but that early constructor is definitely a lot of the build power right here for the Maroon Commander. Super annoying to have to build another one of those and get it out to the front lines and then continue production at least a couple minutes later. There's those missile ships continuing to be annoying. This is the power of that Navy, man. They can reach out from so far away and do so much damage really, really efficiently. I mean, yeah, we could go all the way back here and deny this metal extractor, and it's not like a lot of these T1 bots are really going to even be able to do all too much about it. Yeah, this is so powerful having these Navy units. Honestly, I think I would rather see a bunch more players getting into the water here. Obviously, there's certain areas where you can and can't build the naval labs, by the way. It's these areas with recesses. Maybe I shouldn't say obviously. Maybe it's not intuitive at first. The areas with a little bit more depth to them are where you're going to be able to actually set up a naval lab. Anybody, or anywhere, rather, where it's still shallow and is not actually going to be able to do any sort of naval shenanigans. So that's one thing that might be holding back some of these players right here. Missile ship's essentially just a better version of a missile truck. A little bit more damage, a little bit more range. They have that radar on them, so they can see out for a tremendous distance. They are really, really phenomenal. They remind me of the power level that the trucks were at before they got nerfed. They kind of still hold that same power scale, but just obviously in the Navy means they aren't nearly as universally applicable. Yeah, there's so many of those land units going down right there, and what can you do about it? just can't jump on top of those Navy units in time, or at least in an efficient manner. Stelgi goes down right here. Hans Peter's commander is far forward. I think that's a ambitious metal extractor right there. Stelgi playing this well, though. Yeah, gets the LLT up in time. It's going to start blasting away at that commander. Well, it's going to go after the LLT first. Actually, probably a good decision here. Nostalgia doing some great positioning right there. Microing the commander to make sure that it stays in the way of a lot of this here. Whoa, that's a nice Janus hit, though. Bringing that commander down to just 30%. We do have a couple of destroyers. Well, single destroyer, single frigate, single missile truck out here barraging placeholder right now. The purple commander. Again, similarly making it inconvenient to push on this side over here. Otherwise, you suffer the barrage of naval bombardment. We do have a dead commander over here as Reckless gets absorbed by Gleidschatten, the Seafoam Green commander. I can't help but think it's got to be some sort of bad word if translated, right? Feel free to put it in the comment section if YouTube doesn't auto-moderate it out of the comment section there for you. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it picks random things to hold for review. And a lot of them, they don't even ask me. They just remove it automatically. Okay, well, that's a nice little snipe right there. A little bit of a turnaround on this side over here. Yeah, Hans Peter does manage to eat this commander. So that is now 2 commanders that have been eaten up entirely for the southern side of the blue team right here. Going to be important that they use that metal to make a bunch of units and push pretty nicely because they need to reclaim all this land that they've lost in the fronts already. If they can do so, then eventually the metal advantage is going to be in their favor. As for right now, the metal advantage is only in their favor because of the metal reclaim that they're getting back from those commanders, not the actual production from any metal extractors or anything like that. Tsar XT4 trying to push up here, but there are 2 commanders worth of defenses up on this hillside, so it's going to be a little tricky. Gonna be a little bit tricky. Yeah. I don't mind the slow push, but it definitely needs to keep slow pushing. If you're going to start applying pressure, you might as well continue applying pressure. Yeah, placeholders holder so low. Can't afford to step back into range of those heavy dreadnoughts. 2 of them now out. And this is going to be the clash of the navals here. The naval battle. Not the belly buttons. Guys, please. Says the red commander, trying to prompt his team not to give up too much metal right there, but already 1,250 times 2 has been dropped right at the front door of the blue team over there. Certainly they're going to be feeling pretty good about that. Centurions on the front line are interesting, but they are going to be supported by vehicles, which is also interesting. 2 interesting things, and I guess that makes this overall pretty interesting. I say interesting because I'm not sure exactly how this dynamic works out. The Centurions are going to be quite dangerous against that commander, and as well as basically anything else if they have the repair factor, but there's some ships bombarding over here. Yeah, this entire Navy has gone south right here. I'd actually love to see a little more aggression through this channel with the blue Navy, just because of the fact that essentially if we're pushing the Navy around over here, then we can kind of push and pull and take a little bit of land. I guess the counterattack, though, is Zeidka being pushed back right here. Yep. Losing so many of those grunts for effectively no trade. Yeah, that starts to hurt so badly. That missile ship from the early game, now essentially the spotter, so that we can actually fire away from long range here, making this extremely efficient for those destroyers. Actually, there's only a single destroyer. For some reason, I thought there was a whole lot more. Now we're going to catch the reinforcements coming up for Sparky Steel. There is a forward lab, so at the very least, these reinforcements being cut off doesn't mean no reinforcements will ever hit that front line. But certainly this is a huge loss of metal right now. Indeed, those frigates are going to blast down that extra metal extractor over there, the LLT, just about everything over here, you name it. And this is now a blockade that we've seen over on the red team, the northern side of the red team. That's funny. We don't get blockades very often. Usually that's reserved for star forces, but apparently a naval blockade it is. Rocketeer here. The lone Rocketeer standing up against a grand total of 8 medium tanks. I have a feeling that if the Seafoam commander decides to push forward right here, it would be a tremendous trade. Ural has redistributed the Navy back up to this side. A couple of those boats have gone down, including the missile ship. In fact, it looks like it's only the missile ship actually so far that's gone down. Very important though. Oh, Sparky Seal, killer D-gun right there. Beautiful D-gun, wipes out 3 of those frigates, 4 frigates, 5. Oh, doesn't get the 5th frigate. That was really close though. Still 4 frigates at 420 metal apiece, quite nice. The 4 frigate, oh, and a destroyer too. Oh no, that is devastating to the blue player. Suddenly, that Navy is absolutely crumbled right there. All that hard-earned naval dominance has been down the drain right there. Sparky Seal D-guns down the vast majority of those boats. Killer catch right there. Absolutely shutting down any kind of aggression that otherwise would have been mounting on that side. The T1 units are continuing to push forward right here, but without that naval support, they really are lacking quite a lot of firepower here. Maroon Commander with the destroyer somehow. Have we gone into Navy? No. Must have been handed over at some point. Either way, a lot of these medium tanks from the Maroon Commander as well. The Brutes trying to push forward over here. Seafoam under fire from the Red Navy. Red Navy now looking spectacular. It's going to be a matter of reclaiming the bodies, profiting from the war here. If blue can manage to reclaim a whole lot of this wreckage, well, if anybody on the blue team, I do mean, can reclaim from a whole lot of this wreckage, then I think we can equalize the fact that we lost so many Navy up on the northern side. If not, though, it's going to mean that Ural's Navy is just going to continue spiraling in here. Actually, maybe I take it back. We do have a T2 transition here from the Red Commander, who's decided to eat up that naval lab and eat up some of these wrecks on the front line as well. Decided to go for a T2 transition. I like it. In a map like this, where it's all lanes, pretty much all lanes, there's a single air player for each team. Actually, oh, wait a second. Is there no air player for the blue team? Uh-oh. Yeah, no air player for the blue team, an air player for the red team. Could explain why the middle of the map right here is definitely suffering. Yeah, Zydka having a rough time because of it. But if we can get enough air shenanigans up and running, oh, that's so many advanced solar panels. I'm glad that we're using advanced solar panels as opposed to the regular ones, but definitely around 500 energy, you're ready to start thinking about T2. We've got more than enough energy production, especially for bombers. Those bombers can be extremely energy dense. We definitely have enough energy production to go for some bombers, so I think I'd like to see it. Quantum particle right on cue, goes for a couple of those whirlwinds. Really nicely done by the pink commander right there. Love to see that. Glad to see that there was a plan in mind here. Oftentimes we see people just queuing up more and more resources, more and more economy. There's no end goal in sight, and it's the aphis addiction, but it pervades every single sense of economy scale here. One more advanced solar panel, one more wind turbine, one more of everything else, right? It can catch you. It can catch you and it can hurt you. Not Quantum Particles, though, who's building a couple of bombers, definitely has a plan. Attempting to try and shoot down some of the units on the other side of the map. T2 is up and running right here, though, for the Red Commander. And we're going to start up those T2 metal extractors. Very important that we get those up and running as quickly as possible here. We're going to have to send the constructor backwards, I think. Yeah, we're going to capture all these metal extractors backwards and then bring it on forwards. I think that's a fair idea here. Hans Peter dealing with the repercussions of a medium tank army, and it is a difficult army to counter. T2 units are quite good, and Fiends will definitely do the job, but it's not tremendously efficient. It's all right, but it's not tremendous. All said and done, the red team doing a great job of keeping the pace here. These bombers need to do some serious work. Okay, they've shown themselves. That should mean anti-air should be coming up for just about everybody on the blue team. We have T2 in the backline over here. Placeholder. Idle T2 laboratory right here. We definitely need to see a T2 constructor built here and upgrading all these T2 metal extractors. Well, upgrading all the T1 metal extractors into T2 metal extractors. One of those things that's easy to forget, but oftentimes crucial to remember is it's much easier to afford a T2 lab if you already have a T2 constructor. Well, that might seem counterintuitive, but what I mean by that is it's way cheaper to pay for a T2 constructor from one of your teammates and have them build you one, upgrade all your T2 metal extractors, and then afford a T2 laboratory, as opposed to the alternative being, well, you got to pay the $2,900 price tag for the T2 laboratory as well as the $500-odd price tag for the actual constructor there. I'm just waiting for these bombers to go across. Astalgi asks, says, please bomb. I think that's exactly the right idea here. We've shown the bombers and then given plenty of time for a retaliation, or at the very least defenses to be set up here. There is an air transition on the bottom side, by the way. The Seafoam Green player has actually gone for an air transition. I don't mind it whatsoever. This is a fabulous army on the front lines. Nearly 4,000 metal worth of army on the southern side. No indication that your opponent either is going to go into T2. And actually, I think this army wins this lane if they just push right now. But the air transition definitely works just as well. Going for a little bit of that tech transition. Not really a tech up, but rather a tech across, a tech to the left. It definitely helps. Especially in the case that you end up building a whole bunch of fighters and saving your teammate from brutal bombing. Also with the fact that we have the T2 metal extractors up and running already. This is a fabulous economy right here for the Seafoam Green Commander. Where is that T2 constructor, though? I don't see it. Somehow these, oh, it's all the way back here, okay. We're upgrading our teammates' metal extractors. That's generous. You definitely want to stay focused on your own strategy. They snipe right there. Blue Commander does go down amidst all of his boats, taking down a vast portion of the army right there for the Blue Commander. And the blue team in general, really, definitely losing a lot of metal out on these ships that are being degunned or otherwise obliterated out on the high seas. Yeah, that really starts to hurt. No T2 transition here. We do have the T2 economy slowly but surely starting up right here, but it's just a single T2 constructor, so it's going to take forever for these T2 metal extractors to come up. And already Zar X T4 is feeling the sting right here. The Hounds have pushed back the Green Commander. He doesn't really have very many Hounds out for himself. He does have a Fat Boy as well. We're going for a fusion reactor. Oftentimes the best way to pay for that is actually to eat up the T2 lab. Might seem counterintuitive, but it can work out quite nicely. Oh, and the Commander does get sniped right there. Excellent snipe of these Hounds over here. We do have the radar bot as well, too, accompany all of this. Here come the bombers. Scout planes in the front here. Love to see it. Nice micro right there from the Pink Commander. Definitely impressed with this 17 true scale Commander. Knows what they're doing at the very least in the air battle. Come the Hounds. Being chased away by these boats, but the Hounds are an effective counter to T1 Navy. It's a weird kind of a counter, but it is effective. Oh, you gotta be careful. Yeah, that boat is anti-air. Those missile ships are technically anti-air. Do want to avoid flying over those as much as possible here. You can see the Hounds doing so much work against these, though. Where the T1 struggles quite harshly, the T2 definitely makes up for it and manages to actually allow you to stay in the game against a naval player. Here come the bombers, though. They're going to target the fusion reactor. I actually would have liked to see the lab targeted down right there. I think the lab is probably a higher priority target. Archangel is out now, and it's going to start firing away anti-air missiles, but man, those things are underwhelming. Didn't shoot down a single bomber there, I think. Ugh. Yeah. There's definitely a unit that might need a little bit of a buff or a little bit of a tweak or some sort of a change. Maybe the Archangel is where I should be looking at. Solar panels go down over here, too. It's fine. The bombing is fine for T1 bombers. Still, I can't help but feel like maybe we could have gotten a little more value. T2 constructor goes down right there. That's quite nice. At the very least, inconveniencing the blue player and stalling out their T2 transition even longer. Very, very nice play right there from the Seafoam Commander, though. Making that tech transition, making that air transition, going into airplanes. Eventually, those fighters clean up all the bombers over here. No fighters were pulled for the pink player. I think if the fighters had been pulled, that would have been a way more successful bombing run. At the very least, it would have been a much more uncontested bombing run. Sparky Seal actually in a lot of trouble here. Well, you know what? Those fiends ran on by. Excellent D-guns, too. I can't believe the Yellow Commander just survived that. That was a crazy, crazy push. I cannot believe that Sparky Seal actually held his own through that. Just some killer D-gun work right there. Very, very nicely done. T2 Lab is almost finished on the front lines right there. Always a little bit worrisome when I see those frontline T2 Labs, but sometimes it can work out. Sometimes. We are up to a T2 layer here, a T2 level here for the Red Commander. Has gone into some of these T2 naval ships. Going to go for an anti-nuke boat, always important. Doesn't look like we have any thermonuclear nutheads over on the blue side of the map over here. But certainly, if anybody had been, you're always more than happy to see that anti-nuke or anti-nuke missile fire up and intercept the ballistic missile. There may be no better feeling in the world. Love the resbots here. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and in this case, thousands and thousands of metal lying in ruin over here. Also nice, we have the resbots, actually the res subs rather, picking up some of these frigates that were downed over here, revitalizing the T1 economy. I wouldn't mind seeing a lot of this reclaimed, though. I'm not gonna lie. I think seeing a lot of these ships reclaimed and turned into a T2 transition might be the best way for the blue player to proceed here, having such a hard time funding all of this. Trying to expand the economy, trying to expand the defenses here. We do go to T2 right now, but there's no metal in the bank, so this is going to be on raw production, which definitely means it's going to take a little bit longer. Things have sort of settled down right here. Yeah, everybody's sort of settled into their place right here. Placeholder definitely could push through right here. My goodness, this is a gaping opening right here for the blue team to push right through. You can see there's basically no defenses here. There's like an LLT right here. If these medium tanks pulled the trigger right now, they would be... Those aren't even medium tanks. Those are heavy tanks. Oh, no. Yeah, Placeholder just pulled the trigger right now. He could absolutely wipe out the entire economy of the yellow player. This is one of those times where it's easy to get blindsided, right? Or nearsighted. Tunnel vision, that's the word for it. It's easy to get tunnel visioned. And you don't realize exactly how much damage you actually could do because you're focusing on your opponent's army. This is where all the production is, but it's all being paid for in the backline here, so we really should be focusing on the backline. At the very least, we're going to try and snipe the commander here. Tiptoeing back and forth, always risky. Shuriken come out now to shut down these tanks. Love to see it. If you're Cortex and if you're going to go T1 Air, you might as well build a couple of those Shuriken. Even if it's not a whole lot of them, just 3, 4, or 5 of those Shuriken can definitely make a difference. Almost always better to have a little group of those than not. We've been sitting on these Stormbringers for a good long while over here. 20 Stormbringers have been built right here by the Seafoam Green Commander, who's actually just going into more economy on the back line. I mean, I don't mind it if your opponent's just going to let you. What a crazy tech difference right here. We have the Tan Commander just barely starting up the T2 lab, and then we have the Seafoam Green Commander, who's actually going all the way into a full-blown T3 economy. That's an advantage like this that can easily place you ahead in the game. When ahead, get more ahead is kind of the idea here. Love the missile boats. That's always nice. These things can certainly do some damage. Good against static defense, but also just good in general. They do a significant amount of damage. Quaker's firing away now. Also very good. Until they have to retreat. The moment your Quakers are forced to retreat is the moment your Quakers are essentially invalidated. That's why it's so critical that you put something sturdy in front of them, because otherwise they will get obliterated, and as soon as you try and retreat with them, there's nothing left to cover their flank, and they get torn to absolute shreds. I don't think the blue team has any read on exactly how much of an advantage they have right now. Yeah, scouting has been minimal here. Sparky with some more killer D-guns. My goodness, the commander that could. Beautiful, beautiful D-guns right there by the Yellow Commander. Love the Shuriken pull as well, but that was some excellent, excellent work by the Yellow Commander. Not once, but twice denying the push right there from the, well, all the forces that were pushing up that little hillside. Ah, so frustrating to see from our point of view. Obviously, the players are operating on limited intel right here, but from our point of view, it's very easy to see how Placeholder could just send these tanks across. Whoops, pardon me. Could just send these tanks across. Oh, okay. Stormbringers getting into the action. Yeah, gonna bomb down Sparky Seal's production facility. I don't mind it one bit. In fact, there's 2 fusion reactors over here. That's pretty good as well. Fighters are pulled. Do we have any anti-air to cover these bombers retreating? No, we do not. Those are T2 fighters as well. Yeah, those Nighthawks are gonna tear apart those Stormbringers lickety-split. Well, you know what this means is that there's actually an excellent opportunity for the pink air player to actually go for some bombing. Because you know exactly where the anti-air is because you just flew all your fighters over that direction. You still have a couple left in the bank, so you can send those across as well where you know their anti-air is thin. You can go for a killer bombing run. Surprised we haven't gotten to T2 air here, actually. With such a phenomenal economy, the Seafoam Green Commander could absolutely afford it. A Persecutor has been built on the low ground here. Not the end of the world for the red team over here, but it's definitely annoying. There we go. Battleship to shell away at the shoreline. This is really inconvenient. Once you get into those T2 ships, they effectively line up the same way the T1 ships do against T1 units, in the sense that they obliterate them. They absolutely eviscerate them. There's no contest when those T2 boats get locked onto effectively anything. I mean, even up to T3, those T2 boats, especially the battleships, but even the what are they called? The escort ships, the cruisers. That's their terminology. The Buccaneer, the Paladin / Buccaneer, whether you're Cortex or Armada. Either one of those is definitely going to be able to do quite a lot of damage here. Oh, finally we pulled the trigger and sent some troops forward here. There's now a Scorpion turret. Scorpion turret still does not beat 18 heavy tanks, though. Ah, Placeholder, you're so frustrating to watch right now. Has decided to go for a thermonuclear missile here, which is quite nice, to say the very least. Definitely going to be powerful if we can connect with anything in the backline. It is a Cortex one as well, so it can wipe out a huge portion of the map. We'd love to see this northern area nuked. Could certainly blast away a whole bunch of these units and make it extremely easy to push in on this northern side. Oh, we're going up to T3, okay. It's a ballsy play, but I like it. Yeah, you know what? I think this could actually work out quite nicely. Since there's effectively no pressure being applied and the Navy is denying what little there is being applied. I like that quite a bit. I think going straight to T3 makes a whole lot of sense here, actually. I think the first player to get those really effective T3 units out on the field is going to be the one that takes it all here. We do have a nuclear bomber coming up, okay. Good old Nuki B. Always a big fan when I see these coming out on the field. As an Armada player, it just tickles my fancy to see those nuclear bombers blasting away at whatever they can. Persecutor doing so much damage over here, my goodness. It's just been shelling away for so long, and it's not like it's got a tremendous amount of kill. Well, okay, I say that. 25 kills behind its name is pretty good. It's not like it's been game-changing, but it definitely has done so much damage that it forces a repair on a lot of this. That being said, there's a lot of nice repairs over here, so a little bit of a push and pull there. As long as these units don't die, then they can come back to the repair spawn, get healed back up to full health, but if they die, they're suddenly out of the game, and that Persecutor has just got a little bit more value. The one Aphis Marauder push, definitely one that we see a lot on the straights. It's one of those really, really cheeky builds where you go for Marauders and then you go maybe 4 or 5 or 6 of them, and then you send them across the map, and oftentimes they can hit before your enemy is ready for them. Typically they'll still be in the midst of a T2 era composition. It can be quite effective. This is so frustrating now. This really is so frustrating. This is where you got to start sending some scouts or something right here. If these purple units had pushed right here, this would have been an absolutely done deal. We would have sniped the entire yellow economy, the entire hot pink economy. Everything would have been dealt with over here. Now there's just more and more time for the orange reinforcements to make up the difference. Oh, it's so frustrating to see. 2 Shun nuclear bombers headed in here. Okay. What was the target? I'm not sure entirely what the target was, but both of them will be shot down. Very expensive bombers, by the way. Nuclear bombers, costing 2,200 metal apiece. Not as expensive as the Dragon. Cortex always proud to display the most expensive pieces of tech on the battlefield. But Armada can definitely keep up with those nuclear bombers. Missile ships are also doing quite a lot of value over here. Getting quite a lot of value. Okay, there's the nuke. Boom, goes that front line. Beautiful, beautiful nuke right there. Love to see that nuke coming out from the purple commander. Using it on exactly the right position right here, and all that was beautiful here for the red team has been eviscerated, turned to glass on the planet's surface. Now is the time to push. Opening up the doors right here for the Marauder is so nice as well. What a wombo combo of an attack. Yeah, opening up the entire area right here, shutting down all those defenses, and the Marauder come running in. This is just brutal. Beautifully, beautifully done. Now, Sparky Seal has shown off some excellent D-guns in the past here. We'll have to see how effective they can be going forward. There's a bit of an engagement going on the southern side here, but I do want to keep my eyes locked on these Marauder to see exactly how much damage they can do. Lockdown doing a good job. D-Gun's down 2 of those Marauder at the very least. Yep. Fiends do jump forward to snipe that commander. Very nicely done. Sparky Seal forced to remain still, though not necessarily. Oh, all right. Nice D-Gun right there. 2 Marauder do break the line right here. Finally, we will get a good look into the backline here and realize there's actually no defenses, no production, no anything for the yellow and pink commander here. This Marauder is going to have a field day blasting apart of these wind turbines that were built just a little too close together. Beautifully, beautifully done. Yeah, that Marauder is going to town. More and more damage being done every second over here. Sparky Seal's commander goes down. How are we not sending these heavy tanks? This should absolutely have been the wake-up call that the purple commander needs to send in the heavy tanks. Realizing, hey, wait a second, my teammate has sent through some units and there was absolutely no pushback whatsoever. Easy to get tunnel vision like that, but you have to remember to zoom out every once in a while, right? Take into account what's actually going on across the whole map. I'm guilty of it too. I'm guilty of it too. T3 lab is up and running right here for the hot pink commander, but those Marauder are a little too late, I do believe. That Marauder is going to come out in time to watch as a whole bunch of the economy gets obliterated by the Marauder in green. So many kills between these Marauder. Well, actually, that one is 46. This one doesn't have as many. Probably because most of it's been chain reactions. Absolute carnage. There go the heavy tanks. Not exactly the line that I think I would have appreciated them pushing originally, but with most of the forces depleted here from the orange commander, the entire northern sector completely obliterated, for lack of a better word. These heavy tanks rather are going to have a perfectly fine time pushing into the base right here of the orange commander. Dragon is out in the air here for quantum particles, but we'll see how much it can do. Effectively nothing against this many units all over the map. It can only be in one spot at one time, and they are, at the very least, they are many things, but one of them is slow. There we go, the heavy tanks, though, taking down all the production right here for the orange commander as well as the brown. Quantum particles in a lot of trouble here as the fighters are pulled as well, which does mean that a lot of those constructors go down. Oh, no. That was a huge portion of the build power right here behind building this actual, what is that called? The actual dragon right there. But it looks like, indeed, the red team has had enough of this brutality. Taps under the weight of the blue team, pushing forward on the northern section. Definitely could have pushed in there about 8, maybe 10 minutes earlier. Won the game that way, but still, That beautiful nuke to Marauder play was just gorgeous on that northern section. Absolutely love seeing that. If you did, you can always leave a like down below. Helps propagate these videos, and I do appreciate each and every single one of you. 6,000 of you now? My goodness, blows my mind every single day. Love and appreciate all the rest of you, and I sure hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the very next Beyond All Reason video. Peace out, everybody.